so this could be huge. That is the fight.
Well, it's been a crazy wild ride tonight here for OCN, but I don't think there's any other ride that you want to be on, that's for sure. It's been a blast. We've got one more game to go tonight, and it could very well be the best of the lot. Knights versus Wildcard surely shapes up to be a classic. It might not be the Wildcard Knights matchup we thought. You know, we would have penciled this one in the preseason, guys, before the whole Diesel situation. But it's also a lot better than where we thought it would be after, say, Playday 1 or Playday 2. Wildcard have improved.
Yeah, and I got my chocolate mousse as well, chat. So
it's not all about you.
It's pretty good. Jeez. It's quite chocolatey. I have to hit Snap Gym after this, but yeah, Wildcard. It's not been the greatest season for them, but they're on the road to recovery. It's good. It's really good chocolate mousse. Do you want some? Do you want? I have
to do the analysis and the play-by-play tonight.
No, I need to go this way.
I'm gonna
open up, Zenox, other way. Yum. Is that good? Was it good?
It's all right. a little too sweet.
It's my grandma made it, so you better say it's good.
I'm sure it is good. One thing else that is good, of course, is one of our sponsors, Livin. I've got one of the beautiful shirts on tonight. Absolutely amazing. Big logo on the back. Can I somehow? No, I can't. I tried. There's an awesome logo on the back of it as well. They've been an amazing sponsor for not just Ubisoft Australia, but obviously OCN as well. For those who don't know, Livin is a mental health organization dedicated to breaking the stigma around mental health. You can support Livin by following them on social media, wearing their merch, just kind of like I am tonight as well. I mean, it is absolutely some of the best merch that you can actually buy. OCN viewers can also take an advantage of this pretty good offer. OCN15 is the code you can use at the checkout. You receive 15% off. Type in !Livin in chat, and you can visit their online store, which would be appreciated. That's for sure.
Yeah, get around it, chat. Really good message, and Ant Week to speak. Great partner of the esports program down here. So make sure to show your love and support back.
Always a really, really good cause and a really good sponsor for us, along with Snap Fitness. So great to have those guys on board for OCN. You got any chocolate mousse for me, Guz? Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think you ate it all.
Yeah, I think Zenox ate it all. That was a pretty big spoonful. The man's hungry for some mousse.
Well, I'm also hungry for some more Siege. We got one more game tonight. It's been a crazy one. I can't believe it's midnight. Wildcard versus Knights for our final game of the night here for OCN. Match for Playday 5. It's a big one when you got these two teams involved together.
Well, let's have a look at the Wildcard lineup. They are, of course, a little bit battered and bruised after Diesel unfortunately left the squad before the season commenced. But hey, they've got the next best thing. It's Salix at the top there, looking very fresh. A very beautiful haircut, if I must say so myself. But look, it has been a bit of a rough ride for him and the team. That said, though, as you sort of alluded to earlier, Xenox, they've hit a little bit of form as of recent.
Yeah, one game at a time. That was the mantra from Vinny at the beginning of the season. And, well, they've basically lived up to that, right? Each game that they've played, they've been improving. And they won't get back to their absolute best, but they might get back at least now to a point where they could challenge against Knights. And I don't think they would actually have an excuse anymore, right? If it was Playday 1, I would have said, sure, there's no way they beat Knights. Now, I actually think that they can. Knights lost to Rafflecopter. Knights have been struggling in OCN. Knights lost to Order in Playday 4. They lost to Elevate in Playday 1. They're down the bottom. They're second last. It's not the same Knights roster, but for Wildcard, they've been improving. They did lose out to Rhythm 8-7 in Playday 3, which was certainly not ideal. But besides that, they beat LFO, they beat Rafflecopter, they've beaten the teams that they needed to beat. Now they've got a big challenge in Knights.
Yeah, let's bring up that roster. The Knights, I think it's safe to say, probably haven't had the greatest of OCN campaigns in comparison to their efforts over in the APAC South League. But as I sort of said quite abruptly in that other OCN Playday, you shouldn't be mucking around in this league. It's still a great proving ground and a great opportunity to hone your skills in. So I'm sure the Knights will be adopting that mantra. They want to win every single official that they play in, and now is a great, I guess, kickstart to the end of the season. One player I think to highlight, or at least one that I want to highlight, is Josh. He's been playing as a Zofia mute. Man's been going 27 and 21, with 16 of those kills being trades, which is a pretty damn good ratio. So he'll be a player to keep an eye on.
One player that I want to highlight from this night's lineup is not even a player, it's coach, it's Picnic. Just want to say big shout out. Thank you for giving me some MMR the other night in ranked. Going to the Xenox to Plat cause. Couldn't have done it without him on Chalet. Good win for us. It was led by good old Def Marta. I don't know if you were there, cuz, so...
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
That's probably why you won.
Yeah, that's probably why we won. So big shout out to Picnic for that one in ranked. That was, yeah, good experience for me. Look, it's shaping up to be a blockbuster, as we would have penned it in the preseason. He's still favouring Knights, convincingly. I mean, we saw that in the snowball predictions from our expert panel. Everyone going Knights, which I wouldn't have been surprised if one or two elected to go for Wildcard, but alas, nothing. It is Knights all the way, apparently. And if they're going to get out of the bottom two, they have to be winning this game. So it's all the onus is on the Knights. But if Wildcard calls an upset, man, they can almost book their tickets to playoffs, that's for sure. Let's go and have a look and see where we're going to be playing. Is it going to be Clubhouse again? Oh, cafe. I love a good cafe. Awesome. Maybe we can get some chocolate mousse from the cafe.
Maybe. Hopefully we get some good siege. The one thing I think talking about this game is that if you look at this matchup before the Diesel change and maybe even the Knights form, you'd look at this and go, hey, this is going to be like the best game. This is the game of OCN. Now, you wouldn't think of it in that way, but I feel like it's almost special in its own way now because you have two teams that really aren't playing at their best in this league. Like, it's not like the Knights are on some sort of godly run at the moment either, right? They're actually having a bit of a shocker down here in OCN. And in fact, a Wildcard actually above them in the standings. I don't want to say that if it's wrong. So yeah,
2 points.
Which is kind of wild to think about, right? Because you would have thought Wildcard would be blown out of the water, but that's really not the case. And I think that sets up for what could be maybe not the greatest game of Siege ever played, but a close one.
And not only that, but there's stories, and I love a good storyline, guys. Always do. Wildcard versus Knights. If Knights win this game, they will put Wildcard into the bottom three with 2 playdays to go. If Wildcard win, the Knights will remain in the bottom three, regardless, as you can kind of allude to now. One of these two teams is going to be in the bottom three with just 2 playdays to go, and that in itself is staggering. Imagine you go back to the end of 2020, guys, and you say that one of these two teams is bottom three with 2 playdays to go. You would say you're drunk.
Well, you know what they say when you get really tired, it's almost like you're drunk. And I feel like I'm almost at that point now. The energy is running at a low, but I'm sure both these teams will inject some energy into the match. It is 11:56 local time here in Melbourne, and I'm sure plenty of these players will be in that time zone or comparable. In fact, do either of these teams have players from New Zealand? Because I feel like that would be... No, I don't think they do. So they've got away with that one.
Oh, they got away with that one. Oh, jeez. Lucky they're not in New Zealand.
It's all about the geographical locations. Well, anyway, back to the bans. Sophia, Thatcher, and Maya taken off the board. I guess the only one that might stand out as being a little bit peculiar is that Sophia ban. It was Wildcard that elected to take that off the board. Trying to make util clear a little bit more difficult, I would presume. Haid, turn around things off. All right. Cool.
Nothing too crazy. Valkyrie on the board, which I think is actually second time tonight. Either way, nice to see something a little bit different. Cafe. I could be wrong, but I think the last time we casted Wildcard was actually on Cafe as well. They did play Rafflecopter on Cafe for Playday 4, although we didn't cast that one. They also played Rhythm on Cafe. They also played LFO in Cafe. You're noticing the trend here. They like to play Cafe.
Don't blame him. Cafe is a fun map. I don't mind it every now and again. It can, especially in competitive, get a little bit tedious and repetitive in the fact that a lot of the attacks actually do start from the roof, no matter the objective. It's all about getting those hatches open, getting control top down. At least that's what we see most of the time. That said, occasionally we do see teams mix it up, so see if that's the case. First objective being reading does stand out as being a little bit off meta, but it's not like reading is a bad site by any stretch, so I wouldn't read into that too much. Snap Fitness community vote though, Xenox 57%
Wow, that's...
in favor of the Knights.
I would have probably said 60-40.
Stop. Stop.
Too many times. I mean, it was like the third time, right? Chokes coming
They've all
three,
been,
sort of thing.
they've all been a 3-digit, yeah. Honestly, I'm just surprised that Wildcard have so much of a chance.
Yeah, well, if this had have been played in Playday 1, maybe not Playday 1, because I don't think people understood maybe how bad Wildcard were at that point. So let's say maybe Playday 3. I think Playday 3, you would have said Knights like 85%, most likely, maybe even 90%. So the fact that it's actually sort of come back down to that 57 margin is probably about right. Knights themselves in OCN are not the same Knights from APAC. Wildcard's a little bit better. So they were close, then they went pretty far apart, and then they're close again. But not in the good way, right? Close as in they're both down the bottom close, rather than both at the top close. You know where I'm getting with this.
Well, this is a great opportunity for both of these teams to catapult themselves in the standings. I'm sure you'd be able to tell me, Xenox, but 3 points,
yeah,
I feel like would give you a very big boost.
It certainly would. Knights would actually jump all the way to 4th, which is, a lot better to be 4th than 2nd last. For Wildcard, this is a can you believe it moment. They win this in regular, they are tied 1st.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm not even joking.
Wow, that's most impressive. All right. This is actually setting up to be a really fun game then. Josh? He's over towards Pixel. Looks like Knights are trying to take Whitehall control. Pat hits the C4 on the window. That's a great pick from him, and it's not traded there by Josh. Getting lit up by Dido, who misses. The asphyxiating bolt, not ideal there from him. And he's falling apart here for the Knights. It's a 3-on-5.
These better not be like early signs for how this match is going to play out for Knights, because those aren't good early signs. Josh and Juicy combining, able to get rid of 2 players for Wildcard and Silex and Vinny. Both Vincent's off the board. Juicy from above. Finds a second one. Pat taken out. Minute left in the round. Josh over at White Corridor. Now he's going to push down White Stairs.
There's one player inside a fireplace and the other over towards mining. So that does potentially leave reading a little bit exposed. Not sure though if the Knights have the intel on that site. If I was them, I'd probably try and go for that. This is a difficult position that the Knights find themselves in. They also need to be careful that Wildcard don't go back above and reclaim Vert. So they have to be very calculated in how they approach this execute.
Oh, Juicy's just single-handedly keeping Knights in this round. Ema from above, third cigar balcony. Unsuccessful in his approach. Juicy and Josh, though, both at half health. Ema at full health from above now at bar. Ema just going to go for a pot shot. Is unfortunately way off the mark, not even remotely close. Has 40 seconds to try and win the round for Wildcard. A round I thought that they almost had in the bag from the get-go. Just surely doesn't actually see him through the, whatever is that, bookcase thing? I don't even know. Juicy with a quad to open it up for Knights.
Cheeky little 4K to start things off, and Juicy was really the one that kickstarted the comeback in that round. Remember back not long ago, it was a 3 versus 5 actually in favor of Wildcard, and then Juicy getting that kill on the Vert really helped establish that comeback. Emerin did have a big round as well. Was in a good position maybe to hit the clutch, but just not enough in the end, and there we go.
Ooh, we didn't see that one actually. That was a nice little drop down onto Geo. Geo probably should be winning those.
You love Geo, don't you?
I do love Geo. Look, there's a big correlation between Wildcard doing well, and that's when Geo does well. It's no surprise that, Geo, who had a very slow start to the season, correlated with Wildcard also having a slow start to the season. And as they've gotten better, so has Geo. But, at the end of the day, wasn't he like the MVP from last season, right? Like, you got to have expectations when you get to that sort of level.
Yeah, he was the highest rated player on CGG last year. So I guess that's where you enter that interesting paradox, right? Was Geo playing so well and so highly rated because his team was doing so well, or was his team doing so well because Geo was so highly rated, right? I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand, as you said.
Yeah,
Gio's only really going to be a standout player if the team's playing well, and vice versa. So.
Yep. It's a team game at the end of the day. You can only do so much as a solo. You can certainly have specific games where you pop off, but over the course of a year, you know, or even just a couple of seasons and whatnot, you're definitely not going to be able to just carry an entire team. And well, as we know full well, that wildcard roster, especially for last year, was most definitely not a one-man band. It was a singing chorus of 5 very talented players.
Dino finds the first, and your man Gio has been taken down over towards White Stairs, looking to extend on the roam. I assume he's been killed from outside on the rappel, and that's unfortunate there for the Valk, but at the very least, I guess his utility would have been expended, so Wildcard do still have some intel to work off.
Just gives Knights a nice little leg up here in this round. Play from above, open up the floorboard. Here, mining, along with train, and well, just heap the pressure on from above into kitchen dining. A lot of time in the round. Did Wildcard have any sort of desire to send someone out and try and put a bit of pressure? Probably not. Not after losing Gio early on over at White Stairs.
Being established here from the Knights. Hayward using those breaching charges to get long lines of sight deep in towards the B bomb site, covering the areas in and around Freezer. Vinny, meanwhile, does find one, make it two inside of Bakery. Not bad from him. That's both the Habana and the Capitao off the board. And Vinny has been a player that's been stepping up massively in this season, despite some of the struggles facing this team.
Well, I saw his silhouette as we weren't actually watching, sort of move position. I just wonder if maybe he avoided a drone and it didn't quite catch him. We obviously didn't really get to see it. Juicy tried to swing in and get the double, but get the trade, I should say, but then in the end actually gave the double over to Vinny. Regardless, 2 versus 2 now with 30 seconds left. It's though gotten to this position because of that double of Vinny. Silex, what can he find? He's been getting more and more involved as well as he's been playing more games. Not too much of a shocker. It's usually how it plays out. He's got Ema in for help as well. Hayward going to get the plant down. Sage covering. 8 seconds left. Sage might be able to get one. Oh, the plant's going to be denied. Silex as well catches Sage on, and Wildcard stamp out the round. 1-1.
Oh, big from Silex. Look at that spray transfer. This man has put at least 300 hours on Kovacs in the last couple of weeks to get ready for this challenge. And a good opportunity for him to step up. It has been a slow start, but I mean, what would you expect when you've been tasked with throwing your coach in at the last second? So it's awesome to see that he is steadily improving as these games progress.
Well, this is the thing, right? Playday 1, you have that as an excuse, but this is no longer a last-second thing. You've been playing, you've been practicing, you've been a part of the lineup. It's obviously not ideal, and it's, if you want, you can use it as an excuse, but I think the best teams wouldn't, especially at this point, right? You're getting wins. You win this game against Knights, you're tied first. At what point do you then say, you know, woe is us? You can't really anymore. And Silex himself has been performing better and better. So it's just life without Diesel now, and Wildcard are just getting a bit closer to that previous life.
Back down to reading. I saw the Knights struggle a little bit early round, particularly in that upstairs clear. It got a bit messy in that white corridor, but we then saw Juicy and the rest of the team that was still alive step up massively. Left it up to Emo to clutch. So keen to see if the Knights are a little bit cleaner above here. And if they are, then you would have to assume, I guess, that them winning the round, or their chances of them winning the round, only amplify.
Just want to see Geo off the Valk and just frag out. Like, just kill some people. Be in a position where you can... I mean, to be fair, he actually, last round was literally pushing up white stairs and died to a player repelling outside. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has been in that position and just hasn't been successful. Only 2 rounds prior, though, has gone by. Still a lot of time for him to get involved. One of the themes tonight that hasn't been spoken about too much has been a couple of players starting slow, but having massive impact at the end of, well, usually overtime, at the very end of the matches. And I think that just sort of shows the mentality that some of the players that have, you start a bit slow, you're not getting kills, you're having a bit of a rough night, but to pull through and then have big plays at the end of nights says a lot more about a player.
Pat with the nitro cell in hand. Could think about yeeting it out the window. He did actually connect one in the first round. If he swings this, he's probably going to die on the upside down peak. This is awkward, but he goes for it. Doesn't connect its mark though. A valiant effort as Vinny and Dino both find a pick. So still in a 4-on-4. Vinny the danger man is traded out though, taken off the board. Oh, that's a perfect flame there. Salix forced to vault down, but he does get away with his life despite him being cut off.
Usually an important factor, staying alive.
Staying alive.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
That's what Salix is doing.
Well,
right
you
now.
can tell by the way No, I'll just stop there.
Please don't.
Went too far. 55 seconds left in this round. It's going to be a long one, though. I mean, the start of the night, we said it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint for the show. Ends up being more so for the games themselves. I just have the feeling this one in particular is going to be a marathon. Maybe a lot of back and forth, go to OT, bring out the stress levels.
Ooh.
Oh, Sage caught by Emerin, who's having a big game so far in the first 3 rounds, stepping up. 5 kills already, and there's more players on the board alive for nights that Emerin can find. Could end round 3 on 6 or 7 kills. Maybe challenge Nate for that MVP on the night. And bring that one also down to the white. Juicy going to drop down into pillar. They're going to go for that default plan.
They need to be careful of the flank though. There's one brown stairs. Not sure if that's been cut off. And Emo maybe could even swing and deny the plant, but it gets stuck. Player runs out, taken down, leaving up to Dino and Hayward. In the 2 versus 3, they do have control above lines of sight, presumably onto the diffuser, and that of course forces Wildcard up. It's a 3-man retake up the white stairs, but they get met with resistance. They only find 1 though. That is for the Knights. C4 rains out. They know where that player is positioned, and they've done it. Wildcard will clutch out the round. They don't even bother finishing off Juicy. They don't care. Emorin actually does in the end.
Should have made him watch.
And there we go. Good retake there from Wildcard.
Like, smart play. I mean, you can sit here and say Geo got the double, but I mean, it doesn't really matter who gets the kills there, because you 3-man running for the clear above, someone's going to get the kills. Someone's also going to get downed or even killed themselves, because you're just sort of like a shield walking in. Just smart play. Overall, just really smart play from Wildcard. It's the biggest thing, and I can't remember who it was who almost denied the plant, but got the player who actually got the plant as they were running back, got that down onto Juicy. That was pivotal. If you don't get that down, I think that round plays out entirely different.
Could well be. I think it was Emorin caught in that scenario, and it will be him to 6-pick onto Mirror for upstairs. Definitely not unusual to see Mirror played out, but hiding it behind the 6-pick, I like that. I feel like teams often don't utilize 6-pick as much as they should or could. So, props to Emo. Big brain.
Well, a lot of maps have gone the way of attacker side, and Cafe still holding on to a slight defensive advantage. Very slight, 52%. Just means that for Wildcard, it's all about capitalizing. I think usually you'd like to see a 4-2 defensive half for the most part. I think that's usually half of the course here on Cafe. Maybe slightly above par, I mean 3-3, depending on situations, if it's a comeback or not. But as we head to Bar Cocktail, Wildcard set up here nicely. Looking good. They're in all of these rounds that have played out thus far. Imran is fit and firing. Geo picks up 2 kills, so he's able to now get on the board Everyone's just clicking right now for Wildcard. On the side of Knight, Sage on a 0, Hayward with 1. It's been the juicy show, though.
Man's got the juice. Going 5 and 2, which is pretty cruisy, especially when you're playing the Habana role. In fact, I think we've seen a couple of Habanas pop off tonight. What are the Knights going to do? I said earlier that most of the attacks here in Cafe revolve around these hatches, and I assume this round won't be too different. As we see everyone stacked above, plenty of drones flying out, gathering intel over the red stairs in towards shop and lounge. And look, there's not really a whole lot in the immediate vicinity. Wildcard elected to play quite deep in towards Cocktail. Hayward may be tasked with disrupting that a little bit. Also, a player downstairs, that's Vinny, inside of reading with a couple of reinforcements to, I guess, reinforce that position or fortify that position.
I mean, he's got, what else? He's got a mute jammer, and what else has he got? I didn't quite see.
He has the will to live.
It is going to be something to keep an eye on, I guess, later on in the round.
Oh, hatch drop.
Okay, yep. This is going to be a very quick drop down. Geo gets 1 onto Sajon. He's going to get the second one, and wow, that's probably the round over from here. Surely, Juicy's tagged up a bunch behind bar. They're able to get at least 1 back from Dino on to Geo, shutting him down. Silek's going to throw out the gas canisters now, but too little too late here for Knights. They are in a bit of a pickle. Juicy's just going to keep farming up the kills, but for what avail? And it sort of like highlights what I was trying to say before. You can find kills in situations where you're not going to win the round, but you want those big impactful plays. So you might be having a bit of a quiet game. Maybe you're like 4 and 8, but then you make this like clutch 2-man kill or something in like the latter rounds, Scuzz. And I think that's generally going to have more impact than just getting a silly kill at the end there. Not that Juicy's doing anything wrong.
Well, I just want to know what the Knights are doing straight up, just dropping the skylight. That is really strange, especially considering that was their first attack on that site. So it wasn't like they played it once and found it too challenging and later on elected to go for the skylight drop. They just straight up did it in the first round, which was, yeah, I don't know, a little bit weird. Don't want to harp on it too much, but wouldn't say that that was probably the wisest course of action. I guess it does have the potential chance of throwing off your opponent, but if it doesn't work, it's going to fail miserably, and that's what happened there. Gio was just ready and waiting in prime position to mow them down 1 by 1, and Knights just could not respond.
Big round this. Typically, we've seen teams able to pull back rounds tonight, forcing it to about a 4-2, but we don't usually see the 4-1. It's rare.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
I don't know actually out of the teams tonight that were down 4-2, how many went on to even win? Don't have that stat in front of me. Maybe you do, guys. Although you're not quite Dev Martyr.
I haven't done a LAN event, so what would I know? Sorry.
I don't know. What do you...
I don't know. I thought you were going to roast me a bit there. I was waiting for it.
Oh, you already did that yourself.
I don't know. Just pile on to the pain.
You have done that yourself.
What is that meme from? Is that from
Star Wars.
Star Wars? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which movie?
I think it was number 3.
I don't know. I'll have to research that.
After you've done watching The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Wasn't a bad movie. Fellowship of the Ring.
You know there's 2 more, right?
Yeah. Well, the first one did kind of end with like not an ending, so I would have hoped there'd be more than one. Otherwise, it would be probably the worst ending to a movie ever.
Do you know what the second one's called?
I don't.
Oh man.
Sorry.
It's alright. So, not much has really happened in this round other than stock standard, clear, top-down approach for Kitchen. Wildcard not even themselves really offering too much here in way of giving the Knights even a look in. So Rome, pretty stock standard approach. It's going to be a late execute, and it's just going to come down to who can hit their shots. I know. In-depth analysis, crazy.
That's why Xenox doesn't do color. Emo holding the VIP position.
What do you mean? I'm the hype man. That's what color is, isn't it?
Primed and ready to stop this player crossing in towards Freeze, but they've already dropped down the hatch. Knights can think about a plant, but they haven't cleared Pat. He's close. He loves to play this position. This should not be a surprise to the Knights. If they've done their homework, they do eventually clear him out as Pat was forced to move. There's
Wait, did he know there was a
3?
Did he know there was 2 in Freezer though?
Maybe not.
Because he made that run across, and I'm just bewildered as to why. I mean, either way, that's going to allow Juicy now to just push out a Freezer and get this plant down. This is going to open up massively for Knights. He does get denied by Silex. The two Vincents getting on the kill feed there, 2 versus 2. Now they both remain alive. Vinny takes out Dino. He does lose his partner in crime. 1 versus 1, but Josh doesn't have the time to go for the diffuser. He wanted to try and find Vincia. He won't. Wildcard go up 4-1 in this first half. 1 round to go.
Wow, this has really not been a great showing from the Knights so far. Wildcard are actually playing quite well at the moment. And a lot of the key positions that they're trying to hold are actually being held quite efficiently. The Knights really just struggling to clear out key positions like VIP, for example, Pat on the bomb next to Coffee. And again, these are not crazy positions. Wildcard play these all the time. This is literally like Wildcard 101 at Cafe. So yeah, that is definitely a warning sign for me. But that said, we've seen a lot of these games swing back and forth. So until we get into that second half, like deep into that second half, we just can't read into this too much.
I'm already reading into it. You know why?
That's
Because we're going to reading.
Actually, that said, it is actually interesting that Knights are electing to use their attack pause, and they only have, of course, 1 attack left. So maybe they are thinking, like, guys, we need to really switch on here, get it to that 4-2 scoreline. It's
not an easy site to win either, reading Fireplace. So, I mean, a 5-1 scoreline is very detrimental for Knights' chances of winning this match. And as we've already laid out extensively in the pre-match discussion in regards to the standings ramifications, I mean, it's pretty much all out there, right? They'll be locked in bottom 3. You're giving a team that you're competing for a spot, right, in that top 5, 3 points. That shoots them all the way up into 10 points and top spot, which further extends the gap. I mean, at that point for Knights, if they lose this, 5th place will be on 7 points, which would be Rhythm. It means that a team like Wildcard, teams like Elevate, Order, and Bliss, all of a sudden look pretty cruisy with 2 games to go. Whereas Rhythm would be the only team in that 5 trying to hold on to their place and keep Ruffle Culture and Knights at bay.
Still a lot to play out here, though, on Cafe. Reading is, of course, the site.
Which, guess who plays next Playday? Knights versus Rhythm. Ooh. That would almost, though, like, it's more than good. If Rhythm win that, Knights are done.
Yeah. Well, pending the result of this match, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm saying if Knights lose this and then they lose to Rhythm, they actually can't make playoffs. So you don't even want to allow that scenario to be a scenario. You need to come back here. You need to get even just 1 point and force OT.
Oh, no. Oh, wait, what? Is Vinny actually... Okay. I thought he lagged out there for a second. I was like, what the hell is he doing? He's
Mental some brain lag.
Yeah. I know. He was alt-tabbing to quickly bring up the strat doc and work out what he was meant to be doing.
I mean, I trust in Vinny. He's having a good game as well. 5, 2, and 3. Pretty evenly spread considering Imarin's got 8 kills. To the side of Knights, still nothing from Sage. Man, it's been a rough night for the Bucks.
Yeah, it really has.
It was Boydie first for Rufflecopter and now Sage.
Yeah. Which is weird because Sage has really been a standout since he's joined the scene only recently and being quite a strong player. So bit of an off night for him, but we all have them. It's up to them, of course. Now the rest of the team to step up. And so far, this round is not really fulfilling me with a lot of hope. A lot of these strong positions still held. That said, Hayward finds one on the rappel. Josh finds a second. Oh,
Ooh, what?
How? How is he really
How?
a gunfight?
I literally just saw him spraying into his head.
I was going to say if Josh wins that, then it's probably Knights around, but that really isn't the case anymore.
It still could be. Unfortunately, everyone was traded immediately, so it's still an advantage for Knights. They're up 4-3 in the round. Minute to go. But 4-3 versus 5-3 is a very different storyline.
Bomb located by attackers.
I hate that site.
Hayward loves it though. He always runs it.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, Dino
by Geo.
Screen finds Geo.
Is
He
it
knows there's still a
Chance,
player
Alex?
on white.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Come on, Alex. Go
Alex.
big.
Ah. Well, Vinny down to a 1 versus 3 because he caught Dino off screen as we didn't quite catch it. 30 seconds left and... Well, I mean, look, Vinny can do it. It's not impossible. The problem will be also allowing this plant to go off and then having to clear all the positions necessary, knowing he has to go above first, then down. It just doesn't have the time, surely.
He's going to go for it though. He's been hitting his shots, so I wouldn't put it past him to maybe find 1, even 2 in this attempt. Oh my god.
Nah.
Look at that.
The player in backstore as well. There's no chance. Well, good half in the end. 4-2. This one surely going to go the distance.
Welcome back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a quick replay of that Josh whiff from last round. I still don't know how he whiffed that, but that is pretty nutty there from Emo.
He was on his head and then he just shifted into the wall.
Yeah.
To be fair, I would probably do that. So,
By attackers.
and then that's when I would be like in voice chat, I'd be like, I shot him in the head. How did he not die? And they'd be like, you probably missed. Just rank times with Xenox. It'd be a fun one. I should stream it one day.
Yeah, everyone in chat, spam a 1 if you want to see Xenox stream some ranked.
Aw, don't do that to me.
I can't wait to look back at the VOD and see just no one spam 1.
They're like, who?
Where are my drops?
10 seconds to go.
So, halfway done, Wildcard on the defense, picking up 4 rounds. I mean, I think you're pretty happy with that. If you're Wildcard, sort of sets the tone for the rest of this match that we should, at minimum, be at least expecting overtime, surely, right? Knights now on the defense. Should be able to get back into this one, get a couple of round wins, and then we should have ourselves an arm wrestle to close out Cafe and close out the night here for this very long play day.
Very long play day indeed. Knight's getting aggressive over towards Lounge. I don't know who that player is over towards the Christmas tree. There's also play aggressive down below. Pillars. I know who that is. That's Juicy. Can throw out some intel there and monitor that eastern rappel deep into the round. Able to retreat back up White Stairs and find comfort with the rest of his teammates. Trying to work out who's that over towards Pixel now. Must be Dino, I think. Maybe even Sage. I don't know. Either way though,
Marshall's on
has been
the
vacated.
job.
Yeah. And it is Sage. So difficult to tell with these outlines sometimes, but yeah. It was Sage. Boom. S tier caster.
So Wildcard's attacks, probably the part of their game that At least I would say still need a bit more work. Defense is one thing. Just the way that Wildcard have been playing on the defense, sort of just playing into the attacking team and how they approach sites. But on the attack, you've got to be the ones with the creation and the ideas and the way you're going to attack. And you've also got to be a pretty cohesive unit.
What are they? It's like a synchronized dance on the Southern Rappel. This is really strange. It's not often you'll see anyone rappel here, never mind two at the same time. So I like this.
On top of each other.
Yeah.
Juicy just below.
Located a bomb.
I mean, nothing too crazy, but the only thing I'd say is Wildcard are really just taking their time here. I think even Juicy's getting a bit antsy down below as well. Like, what's going on? Like, where are they? They haven't even really got much, like, Sakar control. There's 38 seconds left.
This is really quite strange. Maybe we'll see Vinny do a late Scarlet drop or try and post up there for a plant. Really difficult to tell exactly what's going to happen. I do know Salix has the kit in hand, though. They're just going to have to try and send it for a default and trade it out, but it's going to be tough.
I just wonder if maybe they were trying to do something else, didn't work out, and now they're just forced into this late round execution position where they haven't really been able to get much accomplished. It's one that was just flanking down white corridor diffuser on the ground. I mean, this round is over, but I just wonder, how did it get to that position? Don't even think Knights really did anything.
I'll give credit where credit's due for Wildcard. They did open up quite a bit of backstore, and they did, on that rappel, clear out washrooms quite effectively, right? So you have two key locations locked down, but it didn't really then feel like they had the processes in place to consider a serious plant. They still had plenty of players comfortable, deep cocktail, Knights just sitting back in their armchairs, really just waiting for the execute, and then they had a player inside a freezer who ultimately did deny the plant. So yeah, I don't think the Knights really had to do anything in that round. Just don't die, don't give away any free picks, which is what they did, and they won the round.
Not the best start to the half for Wildcard, if that's what we are expecting to see from them. Definitely going to have to improve. Knights themselves would be pretty happy with that. They got to go down to kitchen now, which I don't expect Knights will do anything too crazy, especially if Wildcard are going to be attacking in a sloppy manner such as that. Then Knights are happy to probably just sit back and as you said, just don't die, just don't give anything away.
I quickly brought up Twitch chat, and there are in fact people spamming one.
Oh, hell yeah. That's why it's my favorite Twitch chat in all of Twitch.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I mean, there was one person that spammed one about 15 times, but
That's fine. One person is still, you know,
5 seconds remaining.
more than what you get.
Attackers
It's not true, but it's not.
I have 0 fans and you have 1 fan. That's okay. I have Dev. I prefer casting with him anyway.
Oh, shit. Aha. Shit. There's a dagger. Look, we all have fun. Wildcard going to be having fun, though, on these attacks. That's the real question that matters the most. One that would make you ponder. I would love to ask Matic Monday what his thoughts are. He always loves to give his opinion nowadays.
Oh, he's offline on Discord. It's definitely past his bedtime, so we're probably not going to get any special comments from the man himself. It's just up to you and I. On the slog. On the grind. Vinny, though, does find one. That's Juicy. Taken down. Been a bit of a danger man in this matchup.
Where was that?
I don't know.
I'm not sure exactly.
Right in the window, right in the window, sorry.
Ah, right,
okay,
right,
so
right,
yeah,
yeah,
there's a problem here on Cafe where you can't actually move the camera enough to the east. This is as far east as you can move it, so yeah.
I'm like looking at top white and I'm like, I don't see anything. Am I meant to see something here? Geo finding the second kill of the round. This is much better from Wildcard.
Geo now, of course, can work Vert, Skeleton Key in hand. Don't know exactly what the Knights will go for here. Maybe they'll try their best to find maybe one pick and then pay for a retake. Although this side is quite difficult to do so. Josh, meanwhile, in an off-meta position, bot white. He could go for a flank here. If he finds one, this could be their looking.
Yeah, a way to sort of get back into the round, right? It kind of feels like it's at that point where it's 5 versus 3. It does get droned out, but if you elect to not do anything, then you're just going to allow Wildcard to have that advantage when they push onto site. So it's just a matter of you can't sit back now. That just because you lost a couple players, you almost have to continue to be aggressive, continue to be in those good positions or those off-meta positions, and look to find a pick, make it 4 versus 3. And then back yourselves in after that. Is a bit of pressure onto Dino. He is just caught in that corner. 5 versus 2 now. Wildcard much better here in this round than the previous one, and look more like themselves that we're used to seeing.
Now it's really just about closing out the round and making sure you don't falter at that final hurdle. Josh, with 3 smokes left, make it 2. Can delay this push a little bit, and it might get a little bit uncomfortable for Wildcard, but they do have the manpower. They should be able to trade it out, but if they throw away picks like that, the round could turn very quickly.
15 seconds remaining.
Good position for Josh here. Sark's gonna go for the plan. Hayward can he deny with the C4? Yes, he can.
Dropped. 5 seconds remaining.
Vinny's gonna be able to just get straight back onto it though, but there's a chance that Knights might be able to just push in and try and deny it, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. Knights win the round. A round that Wildcard was shaping up to win comfortably at one point.
Well, I framed it as Wildcards to lose, and they do in the end. They had decent positions, but they're just unable to cut off those players as they swung wide, able to deny the plant. And I mean, that's often the story in Siege. You can be good for 2 minutes and 50 seconds in the round, but it only takes a couple of mistakes late, and you can throw away all that hard work.
Exactly. It's just like casting, really. You could be having a good cast for the entire night, and then you slip up for 1 second, and all of a sudden you blast it all over Reddit.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get blasted on Reddit for our pathetic performance tonight, but
Yeah. No, to be fair, we're the opposite. We get 1 minute of good moment, and the rest of it is average.
we just make the good moments better.
Yeah. 4-4. Tied game. Not too much of a surprise. Did try and kind of allude to the fact that at the halftime break that this most likely happened with Knight switching over to the defense. Still though, that last round in particular is one that Wildcard probably should be winning, and now they're going to go and try and take Reading Fireplace. It is shaping up for Knights, in my opinion, in the second half. They are the team with enough ahead of steam to probably come away with this matchup, which was the predicted result.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Investment above here from the Knights, extending over towards Cocktail. Shield in hand, or placed down, I guess, by Sage. Not sure how many they'll actually post above. Maybe 3. Sage could get aggressive inside of washrooms. That's a bit aggressive, especially from the smoke, but the shotgun in this position can often be a bit of a terror to deal with if you're an attacker, so I don't mind this.
Swapping bags.
Just going to stand up for Wildcard here on the attack and look to open things up. Seen Pat finding a few kills. Vinny's been thereabouts. Geo, once again, just a little bit quiet. He's on the buck, though, so that is kind of cursed tonight.
Reloading. Cover me. Clear the blast area.
Knights just falling back a little bit. Now going for that more default approach. Playing in Cocktail, they'll drop down. Wildcard most likely will go for a pillar drop and then default plant. Feel like we've seen it a million times, but there's always little differences that shape up the round. Things like that
Sage.
exactly are those little differences, and then throws the gas canister down white corridor to delay. And this is how each round is just always just a little bit different, even if it's the same approach.
Good work
Quite the
from
best
Geo.
esport. I don't know where I was going with this.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege is indeed an epic esport, and Wildcard looking to do something epic themselves, pushing down white corridor. Still a player inside of Cocktail. I'll need to clear them. They want to go for this attack. Utility gets sent out. Followed up by a nade, I would presume. Will it hit the mark? No.
Ooh.
He gets caught as well, but Vinny, his shot is true. He finds the head of Josh, and now they have control above.
40 seconds left. Not exactly the most amount of time. Okay, that's a nice little drone. That actually is going to catch Juicy at the bottom of White Stairs, giving them that information. Barbed wire there as well. So I don't sense Juicy's going to go for the run up White Stairs, trying to get the flank, but Pillar is the play. Imran looking into it now. As I mentioned before, it should be a default plant. Vinny, though, catching Hayward. Advantage wildcard. Go time. Go, go, go. SEAL Team 6 out. Push on in. Send in Silex with the diffuser. Imran now to try and at least get the trade. Geo from above is able to get Dino. This is just not working out, though, for wildcard. 5 seconds left to drop down, get that diffuser, and start sticking that plant. Geo, but Sage is going to swing the C4 from Juicy, thrown over above. Knights once again in the final seconds of these rounds, coming up and stealing the rounds away from wildcard. What a C4. So good, the replay didn't even show it.
Yeah, really big round there from Sage. He had a massive impact. He got the first kill, so +1 on the entry. And then he found 2 important picks in denying the plan and really stalling out wildcard to the point where they actually couldn't recover. So really well played there by the Knights. In fact, that round gives them the lead. And look, I know it's difficult to say this with any real certainty, but 3 rounds straight, they've won all 3 sides. It does feel like this is running away a little bit. Wildcard, they're just unable to close out these rounds.
You say that, and I'll give you a counterpoint, which has been throughout the night. We've seen teams win 2-3 rounds in a row, and then it just flips pretty quickly in the specific half. But I will say it's usually the attacking team that we've been seeing, especially back over on those maps of Clubhouse. It's usually the attacking team that was getting, say, like 3 rounds in a row, and then the defensive team was finally getting 1 or 2 back, usually 2 at that, which is all Wildcard need to do here. They just got to get 2 rounds. They're not that far out of it. Yes, Knights have won the last 3 rounds in a row. They brought it back as expected on the defense, but Wildcard have been in these rounds. They haven't been far out. There was only that 1 round, the opening round of the half, where they got blown out, in my opinion, which they really did. They just couldn't really do too much. But the other 2 rounds, they were really close. They probably should have won Kitchen last time out. The last round was pretty close as well for Reading Fireplace. Now we go back up to Bar Cocktail. This was the embarrassing one. You tweak a few things, you perform a little bit better than you did last time. It's not that crazy to think Wildcard can then win it.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Yeah, the real struggle that Wildcard had with the last round was just flushing out Freezer, really, and making sure they could actually get the plant down. They did a decent job in opening up the washrooms wall as well as backstore, so they had decent lines of sight deep in towards Cocktail, but the Knights played it so well and just literally didn't peek them. As dumb and as simple as that sounds, they just elected not to over peek, and they were able to win. They swung when required when the plant went down, dumped utility, and it worked out in the end, so they can't complain too much. Not sure if we'll see them change it up much here. So far the setup is almost identical with similar lines of sight being created deep, and Wildcard will probably have the similar, or will have similar hurdles to try and overcome.
Just got to pick up the pace. I mean, that was really the biggest thing, was just timing. You know, you mentioned all the things that Wildcard did last time out on Bar Cocktail and all the good things, which they were good things. But then they had like 20 seconds left once they started to push onto site, and it's just not enough time. And then it just divulges into this mess. You're also funneling in from one side, and it's just not ideal. Maybe moved a few members of Knights around, but it's not like the Knights players were in this really horrible position because of what Wildcard achieved. Like, there was still, I think there was a player in backstore or freezer that just didn't even really have to move, watching Bar, ended up finding a kill or 2 and just making life very difficult for Wildcard. So let's see how they play it this time around. Do they try and get maybe presence in Cigar a little bit earlier?
Loading new mag.
Again, another top-down take here from Wildcard. You expect nothing less. Between these 2 teams, and I mean these teams that do have quite a bit of history, played each other in the major in August, where Wildcard bested them, and in every other playoffs at a national level, they also bested them. That was in the era, I guess, when Wildcard were basically unbeatable, but times have changed.
Are they going to drop down the Skyline after Jer clears?
There's a chance. Wildcard
Just
on the
don't
window.
usually see this play out too well, but they are in a better position than Knights when Knights tried this. Pat, though, losing a lot of health there. Geo's still unable to clear this player. It is going to drop down. Now Geo's going to turn his attention over to Backstore and Freezer. Dino getting the kill onto Vinny. I mean, it's kind of strange, but in a way, Wildcard aren't doing too bad in this scenario for dropping through Skylight. Juicy top of white stairs. Josh has control of this diffuser as well. I mean, this is round over. Is it weird to say I didn't think that was too bad from Wildcard? They just didn't play it as well as they maybe could have, but the positioning and the idea was there.
I mean, the thing is, they called that last tack timeout, and I assume they probably thought about what they were going to do because they would have been expecting bar given the slight
Would hope so.
rotations. And maybe that was just the call. Maybe they figured that last time when they attacked the site, they were too slow. They didn't really feel confident in speeding that up, expediting that process, and being in a better position for an execute. So they went, hey, let's just clear out what we need to, or at least attempt to, and go for the drop. Now, it didn't work out, but again, I like to see teams mix it up, and it wasn't a terrible attempt. They didn't just get absolutely slaughtered as they dropped, so it wasn't terrible. It was better than the Knights attempt earlier in this matchup. That one was pretty bad.
That was one that the Knights probably would want to forget about. I think that the biggest thing for that, and it's actually credit to Knights, I think Knights' positioning was really, really good. They weren't in open positions. You know, Geo, as he sort of starts to sweep through backstore, no one's like randomly ran out in front of him or peeked in front of him, allowing some easy kills to go the way of Wildcard. So credit to Knights for their positioning in that round. And Knights, look, they've earned this match point, which is what they've got. They've got an opportunity now to get all 3 points, to put the pressure onto Wildcard when it comes to the standings, to get out of the bottom 3 into the playoff 5. I think that's a cool name. We call it the playoff 5, you know? Wildcard will drop down to 6th position. Rafflecopter would go down to 2nd last, and Knights jump up to 4th. They would be on 8 points. A big jump.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Such is the nature of the league. A couple points here and there can give you a big boost. Still need to close it out though. Wildcard looking to hang on, wanting at least 1 point in this matchup, but they're yet to win an attack. I was going to say that might be a bad start, but Pat hits the flick. That's Juicy off the board, and a good start for Wildcard.
Juicy could just switch between his cams for a bit. Try and help out. Still a long way to go in this particular round, let alone the fact that it's 2 match points for Knights. Service cooking. But taking that player off the board, I was going to say, just having that advantage on a site like this is massive. But Hayward finding a C4 onto Pat.
Out the window, perhaps, from above? I don't know. Bit wild. Nonetheless, though, it does equalize this round into a 4 versus 4. Skeleton Key rains out. That's Geo inside of Backstore, looking to cut off a lot of the key rotations down below. And he does so. Time management, though, I think that's really the key thing to keep in the backs of our minds. Just how efficient a Wildcard going to be here. It's not really an alarm signal for them to be going for late round executes normally. But tonight, they've really been struggling in clean executes, especially late rounds. So they'll probably be wanting to speed it up a little bit.
Yeah, and usually in these late round executions, what ends up happening for Wildcard is like the numbers aren't that bad, but they end up like the player that's on the diffuser usually dies. Just say in this case, Silex, right? Usually dies early on. Then someone like either Geo or Vinny has to sort of take that diffuser and start sticking it themselves. So then you've lost them. As they're sticking that diffuser, that's basically down a player. And then what we're seeing from Knights is just their ability to, again, stop that second player from getting that plant. So we're not even seeing the diffuser actually stick. And so for Wildcard, they're just getting slaughtered in the execution phase, which again is what's going to play out here with 35 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be another late game rush push from Wildcard as they drop down into Freezer. This is pretty much identical to last time out, which played out as I sort of pointed at before. Silex went for the plant, got denied, and I can't remember if it was either Vinny or Geo went for the pickup got denied again. 4-3 though. Geo did find a nice early kill. Sage watching from BIP though. Catches Vinny Silex. Can he stick it? This is the big question. Geo watching. Unfortunately losing though. This time Silex will actually stick the diffuser. Emerin catching one back. Sage close by to Freezer. Has Hayward as well in cooking at the moment. As a triple kill from Sage, who catches Silex coming out. Emerin from above makes it a 1 versus 1. But Sage will know he's above.
Attackers need to protect the
I
He's
don't
either
think
going to go for the stick, or he knows that he's got to go up to the top. So why not just go for the
Does
stick?
Emo have
He
line
may
of
not have the
sight?
angle. Oh no, he's got it.
Aw.
Oh my, I'm done.
Disable the bomb diffuser.
What?
Defender mission successful.
I thought maybe there was a chance that Emerin had an angle onto the diffuser.
Well, look, I think if there's any round that really summarizes the struggles that Wildcard were having on the attack, it's really that one. They were really just finding it difficult to position themselves late round on those attacks. But the Knights, props to them. They made them suffer 7-4 victory and 3 very nice points on the standings.
Certainly did. Knights, that's probably the best we've seen from them in OCN thus far. Big win, 7-4. Gets them out of the bottom 3, and as you said, propels them up the standings. Unfortunately for Wildcard, you know, improvement is not linear. Sometimes, you know, it's not a straight line. Sometimes you're going to have some dips in form, and tonight was one of those. We've seen Wildcard improve, and that probably wasn't the best we've seen from Wildcard in recent weeks, that's for sure. You can't take anything away from Knights, though. They played perfectly. They made it very difficult for Wildcard to actually play their game, and I think in the end, they just looked a bit shook, as Specker sort of alluded to before. It's all about the mental game, guys. All about the mental game.
Yeah, the mental game was put to the challenge. It was important that you and I, and the players in the server more importantly, didn't jump to any conclusions after the first half, because it was a 4-2 in favor of Wildcard. But it really didn't turn out the same in that second. It was really one of those matches that was a tale of two halves, and Wildcard just really struggling to get their teeth into those attacks.
Yeah, and look, it started off well for Wildcard. They got off to some pretty good starts. Knights did throw a couple of crazy rounds at them, especially that Skylight hatch drop. But you know, this is why we didn't get too ahead of ourselves. I think we actually, you know, pat on the back for us. We pretty much said that Knights would be able to bring things back on the defense, and they did just that. So I feel pretty good about myself there. That was one of the rounds. There was a couple like that where Wildcard had some good positions, had some good opportunities, got denied. There's the second one as well with another C4. So 2 big C4 kills, stopping Wildcard's attacks there at the late rounds. They were never able to get that diffuser down, and Knights were just always one step ahead. Here's that kill from Pat. Oh my God, that was nice. And unfortunately, in this very final round, Emerin just did not have sight onto the diffuser. Nice easy stick in the end for the Knights, who 100% cost for Juicy, and it felt like that, absolutely having an impact in every single round. Besides Emerin, Vinny and Pat did all right. Unfortunately for Silex, definitely one step back tonight, but he had a job to do on that Hibana, and a lot of the times was just sent in to just try and get the diffuser down, and as we saw, wasn't really working out too well. So sometimes, you know, KDA doesn't always tell the full story, Guz.
Yeah, the one player that's really sticking out to me is Dino. I don't know about you, but I feel like we just never said his name tonight. Like, he just flew under the radar, but he was getting massive numbers on the board, and I've been really gassing him up in stage 1 across OCN and APAC South. The man's cracked. He's looking so sharp. Mechanically, he's probably the best he's ever looked. So again, props to him, +3 on the entry, and despite maybe having a quieter night because we didn't see all his kills or whatever the case was, yeah, he's posting up the numbers, 91% cost as well. So yeah, can't fault him.
I think the only thing we saw from Dino was setting his teammate on fire, and then after that, we kind of we kind of moved away from watching Dino.
Didn't want to watch him
from that point onwards. I'm pretty sure we're gonna actually have him for the interview very shortly here, but actually apparently not. It says we've changed it up. He's embarrassed because of that bolt. Let's go to our interview for the night. I think it is Juicy. I hope it is Juicy.
Hey guys. Yes, it is me.
How you going, mate? How you going? Congratulations on the win, 7-4 in the end. A pretty good scoreline. You guys get out of bottom 3, which is absolutely amazing. You're into those playoff positions now. A good result, obviously, for OCN, where you guys have been struggling a little bit, and against an improved wildcard roster as well. So overall, a pretty good night.
Yeah, quite happy with the way tonight went. threw a few rounds on the attack. It wasn't as clean as we'd like it, but yeah, I don't know. They're seeming stronger and stronger each time they come into the server. So it's good to get the dub tonight and face them on Thursday again. So it'd be good to get some info on them and play them then.
Yeah, talk us through that mental game a little bit. Specker mentioned it in his interview that it is critical. I guess, firstly, do you agree with that sentiment that it is really important? And secondly, you guys, of course, were 2-4 down. Was it really a concern to us on the sidelines? Probably wasn't really, given the cafe situation. But how did it actually feel in the server?
We weren't really worried that much. Our defense, if we just play them, we could stall them out and run down the clock on them a little bit, and so it didn't worry us too much. Like I said, we threw a few of those attack rounds, I feel, so I think we were playing alright, just couldn't close out a couple of rounds, so we knew going into defense to be a bit easier for us, and we can just run it back from there.
Can take us through the skylight drop round. what went wrong there?
We just took too long. That's all it was. I think we gave them a chance to realize what was going on, because there wasn't really much activity around Cigar, and yeah, we just didn't clear a piece of barb, and I think two of us dropped them were flash, so we didn't really coordinate that quite right, but it's all slip up.
What did you think of Wildcard's attempt when they tried it themselves?
Considering we had full info on it still, I don't know. I think we're the kings of that one at the moment, but I don't know. They just don't give much time on that round, so that's all it was. But, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess we've wrapped up that matchup pretty well. You guys have got Rhythm next week, and it's probably safe to say that they're not the strongest team in the league, but they're also not a pushover. Do you maybe go into some of these matchups a little bit worried that an underdog will take you down? Because we have seen teams like Elevate, for example, struggle against some of these teams that you would expect to be easy wins.
I think we had that happen in the first couple of play days in OCN, so I think for us it's just we're trying to work it out from there and get the balancing act between the two comps, and I think we should be right from here on out. We've worked out how to deal with it and either get our prep done right and work out scrims around it. So I don't know, feeling confident for the rest of the games going in.
Good warm up for tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow night. It'll be fun. Good game. Should be a good game against them boys. So looking forward to it.
Any final thoughts that you want to mention before we let you go, mate?
Just always thank you to everyone. The support means the world to us. Keeps going each play day, especially at the moment with it being so hectic. So yeah, just thanks to everyone.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Right.
Good to see
Thanks,
you guys
boys.
performing well in OCN, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Well, the Knights of old just making an appearance tonight in OCN, unfortunately for Wildcard, who probably ran into the best performing Knights outfit we've seen this season for OCN.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assumption. I'd also say, to be fair, if you want to take Wildcard's attacks out of the question, maybe, but it was actually not a bad performance from Wildcard themselves. I feel like that was probably one of their stronger performances. Last week, maybe a little bit better taking down Ruffle, but if the Wildcard of Playday 1 had have taken on the Knights, it probably would have been a 7-0. So they're definitely on the up.
Can you believe it, though? We're getting to the end of the night. No more matches to come, so we can start to sort of break down this play day. Let's go and have a look at the recap of the schedule. 8-6 it was. Team Bliss, #Bliss up, beating Rafflecopter in what was a pretty enticing matchup. Rhythm snatching a big victory over Elevate, who continue to have inconsistently average performances for whatever reason. They're a great team, but they've just got to get over this little hurdle. Order coming up big against an LFO team that certainly tried their absolute best to get back into it, and they did by forcing the 7-5, and then Knights too convincing, too good against Wildcard.
Yeah, I'd say both. I'd say most of these matches played out as we expected. The first one, a 50-50 coin flip there between Ruffle and Bliss. The only real upset was probably that second one where Rhythm managed to edge out in the 8-7, so a really valiant effort from them. And who knows, Rhythm, maybe they're a serious shot at top 5 for the playoffs. We probably would have penciled them in as a bottom 3 team, being the invited team and based off their 2020 form. But again, just considering how close these standings are, teams like Rhythm might be able to just squeeze in. LFO probably disappointed they missed out on OT because that would be important for them. So yeah, Interesting stuff. I'm very excited to see how the standings are shaping up, honestly.
Before we get to that, though, let's go and have a look at the predictions and how that has now obviously been impacted.
Not these standings.
It was basically only the Bliss and Rafflecopter match that had any sort of impact, unfortunately, for both of us, plus Robert Monday. Yeah, we got that one wrong. The Bliss boys do get one up on us, although last place is still me, Rob, and of course Dev, all tied 8 top. It's a very, very close standing. I don't know how Raven has gotten out to an 11-9 lead. That's a strange one. You're not too far behind, at least, guys, as well. So it's certainly shaping up to be a close one for the Snowball Esports predictions in the back end of this season.
Yeah, mirroring the actual league itself, I guess. Don't know. Maybe Raven has been putting less time into casting now because he's not casting OCN and instead spends his days meticulously predicting the matches. I'm not sure, but definitely a surprise to see him up there.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Although, I mean, like, in fairness, the APAC South predictions is what really matters, and that's where me and you are number 1, I think. Yeah, so...
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's definitely what matters the most, surely. Let's go and have a look at our MVP for the night, though. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise. It's the super sub. It's Nate, who came in with a banging performance for Order. And in a way, maybe just highlighted by the fact that, of course, being the sub, as well as he played, it's always really nice to see.
Yeah, Nate looking fresh in the Order kit. That's all I'll say. Looking real nice. And yeah, not only did he step up, but being in that sub role as well, I think only exemplifies his performance. A 69% headshot ratio as well. That's nice. As we have a look at his replay package. I think really the one play that sealed it was that one, the floor bag. Not exactly sure what that was all about, but yeah, just a good solid performance from Nate.
Yeah, and when the guy got tough and when Alivo were making their comeback, Nate was still able to step up. And
did you get Elevate and Alivo merge?
I said Alivo, did I not?
No, it sounded like Alivo.
Alivo. Okay, whatever. It's been a long night.
It's a long night. It's a long night. He of course continued to make some big plays. So big credit to Nate, who is our MVP for the night. I don't think he wins anything, so pat on the back.
Just a little clap. There you go, Nate. Big Nate. I'll tell you what, it gives Specker some more time to find out what's in that magic box and something about mental issues. I don't absolutely know. I'll have to watch back that interview with Specker because that itself was outstanding. Let's go and have a look at the standings tonight and see how everything shapes up, because it has been twisting and turning and changing. Knights go from second last to fourth. Rafflecopter, they've gone from first to seventh, Gus.
Yeah, in the space of 3 play days, which is look, not ideal for them, but the thing is, you look at these standings, we've got 2 play days left after tonight, and I don't think we can safely say that any of these positions are locked in. Like, it's not like LFO are 100% not making the playoffs, or Raffle, for example. If they have 2 wins over the next 2 play days, well, again, it'll probably depend on how the other matches play out, but they are still a fantastic chance of making the top 5 for the playoff gauntlet. So you can't have a sleeper week. I mean, that's basically the best way to describe it. You just cannot afford to be off for 1 or 2 play days.
If you look at the standings as is, and let's just say the top 4, we give them the benefit of the doubt and we say that top 4 makes it, and it comes down to Rhythm versus Wildcard, and maybe even Rafflecopter. Wildcard have got Bliss, and then they've got Elevate. Rhythm have got Knights, and then LFO. Rafflecopter has LFO, and then they've got Order. Now, no disrespect to LFO. They are down the bottom. They are last. And if you're going to want to play anyone heading into the playoffs, you are going to want to play LFO. So the fact that the 2 teams next to Wildcard still get to play LFO says a lot. It means Wildcard as a team are going to have to win out against Bliss. They are going to have to win out against Elevate.
Yeah, definitely a tough run for Wildcard, but I would argue that they're on the up, and who knows, maybe they can miraculously find some crazy form in a week's time and take down both Bliss, who, you know, don't look perfect all the time, and Elevate definitely don't look perfect all the time. So again, if you have a good day, those could be wins. Maybe OT wins. Maybe that'll be enough to squeeze into the top 5. We don't quite know.
Yeah, might be. Let's go and have a look at the next Playday, which will be Playday number 6, the second last Playday of the regular season. For stage number 1, it's gone by pretty quickly. It's been a lot of fun. Rafflecopter versus LFO. We kind of already briefly touched on that, but it's a must win at this point for Rafflecopter. Have to win that game. Unfortunately for LFO, who showed good signs against Order. Obviously for LFO themselves, I mean, they've got Rafflecopter and Rhythm. They'd be looking at this as like maybe 6 points. What's that? That would put them on 9. That might be enough to secure 5th place. So for Rafflecopter and LFO, massive game to start Playday 6. Cannot wait for that one. Because really, if LFO lose that, they're out of playoffs, and that means Rafflecopter are heading back into the top 5. Elevate then versus Order. Huge game at the top of the standings. Winner of that all but secures playoffs. Then Bliss versus Wildcard, which if Bliss win that, they secure playoffs. If not, then Bliss may be still sweating a little bit as to where their future may lie. And then Knights versus Rhythm, the battle between 5th and 4th there to close it out. I can't wait for Playday 6.
Yeah, the TLDR really is that every single matchup is critical to the playoffs standings. Like, they literally just are. Often towards the back end of round robin competitions, you can go, this match doesn't really matter, that match doesn't really matter, but literally every single match is critical. So yeah, big stakes for all 4 games, and all those teams will be wanting to bring their best, especially I think the teams that are really right up there will be under quite a bit of pressure, because gauntlet format, right? The higher you are in the standings, the deeper you start. So a bit of that pressure can be alleviated.
Especially the fact that there's only then one more play day to come after Playday 6. It's a couple of must-win scenarios involved in there. You got Clash of the top as well, so it's got everything mixed for it, of course. But tonight had everything as well, just about. We had a bunch of overtimes. Unfortunately, the Knights wildcard match probably didn't live up to expectations in being something that we thought could close the night out. But outside of that, it was a really nice night, and I'm glad we could spend it together for so long, and with everyone in Twitch chat. A big thank you to everyone for watching, and to all our sponsors. Just such like what is it? It's Easter, right? It's the holiday of giving. Or is that Thanksgiving? I don't know. We don't do that in Australia.
I don't know. Yeah, it was a fun night. Bit of I don't know. Just felt a bit weird. Must be a full moon outside. I don't know. Just a bit. How you going? But yeah, I'm ready to. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to hit the hay and go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to hit the hay. It's been an absolute blast. We've absolutely enjoyed having you all tonight. Myself, Guz, we thank you all for sticking around, especially throughout a lot of the rehosts. You guys are troopers, champs, best viewers in the world, just bar none. But we are, of course, going to close out tonight, Playday 5 in the books. Make sure you tune in next time for Playday 6. You don't want to miss it. Be there or be square.
I'm running out of time. I'm running on a feeling song. I'm running out of time. Should leave it all behind. Promises of rainbow.